why you cannot escape the ego. The ego is always part of you. You cannot run from it. You cannot escape from it. It is a part of you that will always be part of you. The ego, what is the ego exactly? It's, oh gosh, my arm has disappeared. Maybe that is part of the ego, right? The arm, maybe? The ego is surface level. It is what people identify as on the surface. It's like, oh, hi, my name is so-and-so. I work at this job. These are my interests. That's all surface level stuff. That is all your ego. It's not who you truly are at the deepest level. It's not your spirit. It's not your soul, which is the deepest part of you. It's your true self. Your ego is not. Your ego is more of a mask. It's something that can protect you from a lot of the things that are going on in the world, a lot of bad circumstances and situations. But it can also be very competitive in nature, which can be good and bad. It can also cause a myriad of problems where people don't really know who they truly are. And they're instead connected more to their ego. That's all that they know. Ego, ego, ego. The ego controls people's actions. It controls their decisions. It controls their way of life. Everything is determined by the ego for a lot of people. They live in the ego. The ego is their identity. If it wasn't for that, they would not know who they are. It controls all of these things because that's what drives them. That's what motivates them. The decisions, actions that they make, their way of life is all controlled by ego. And the fact is, no matter how you try to disconnect from the ego and separate yourself from it, that in itself is basically you trying to use the ego, trying to get the ego under control. And that seems very complex. It seems very difficult to actually grasp, but your conscious mind saying, gosh, my ego, I need to get it calmed down right now. It's a little bit out of control. That's your ego talking to your ego. Believe it or not. So, how do you disconnect from the ego? You really can't. You can never truly disconnect from your ego since it's a part of you. It's a part of your physical body. It's part of your brain. It's how you are. It's how you are made. It's like, okay, well then, how do you deal with it then? The thing is, that's your ego talking yet again. It's not as complex as you're making it out to be, because how do you control it? It's like, okay, let's try some things in order to actually control it here, to tame it down, to relax the mind and body, to actually let go of the ego. That is the ego basically trying to control itself, to deregulate the situation, to have control, to basically say, okay, I have controlled myself. This person is happy now. How do you deal with it then? Well, the thing is, because it's your ego, you want control over it. The whole purpose is to not try to have any control whatsoever, not try to control it in any sort of way. Instead, you want to connect more with your spirit, your soul. How do you do that? You practice mindfulness, being in the present moment. You do relaxation, oneness, realizing that you are one with everything and anything around you. Practicing mindfulness to be here in the present moment, because your ego is trying to figure out a solution of how to calm itself, how to tame itself. It's like, okay, if I do these steps, if I do these things, it's all ego stuff. Instead, you focus on the here and now. What is happening right this present moment? And you will begin to realize you have thoughts going through your mind. All sorts of thoughts, including thoughts of how it's like, what happened today? What's happening tomorrow? What's happening with your friends and family? All that sort of stuff going through your mind. That's all ego stuff. That's all ego talking, ego thinking about things, ego wanting to control stuff. And you imagine it. I always imagine it like a train. A train flying by. Those are all of your thoughts, and you're watching the train. You're watching the train go by. And because of your racing thoughts in mind, you're running after that train as fast as you can, and you're worn out because you can't keep up with it. It's going too fast for you. But that's how your mind is. That's what you're thinking. Your mind is like, gotta keep focusing on these thoughts again and again and again and again. Can't relax. So it's always a train blocking the path, and you're running after it. You can't see what's on the other side of that train. That's all the thoughts. That's the ego going crazy with all the thoughts that you get all roped up into. But if you become an observer of these thoughts by doing mindfulness, you will begin to see that train, all the thoughts going through your mind. And you begin to just let it go, just like watch it, like but not really watching it like following the carts. You may a little bit, and you're not chasing after it. You're more just like focused and relaxed, and you're beginning to like see through it almost, like it's there going in the background, and you're seeing through it. And when you see through it, you connect to the other side of that, other side of this ego. Beyond that. That is your true self. That is your higher self. That is who you truly are at the deepest level, your soul, your spirit, beyond the physical, beyond the ego. Now, that takes a lot of practice to be able to do that. It really does. But the more that you practice this mindfulness, you begin to realize that it gets easier and easier the more that you actually do it. To the point where, let's say the first time you try it, you're not successful with it. You try it again, maybe like 15 minutes or so, and then maybe like the last 10 seconds, like you got there, and then you just immediately just snap right back out of it. And you keep practicing until you get good enough where you can begin to realize, there's my thoughts. And then you focus past the thoughts. And when you do this enough times, you begin to start to question the ego. You begin to question every thought that you have, every decision that you make. Is it for your own best interest? Is it your higher self speaking to you? Is it your soul, your spirit actually guiding you? Or is it your ego? You begin to question these things. And as a result, you may end up experiencing something called ego death. Now, this can be very scary because it's the ego wants to be in control of everything. But when you experience ego death, it's basically the loss of control of the ego so that your spirit and your soul can actually emerge for you to understand who you truly are. Going through an ego death is very intense. It's very scary. But it is a necessary step in order for you to achieve union of your consciousness and your soul, who you truly are, in order for you to integrate that into your actual being. You don't have to do anything about, achieving this step. These things come naturally on their own because you're already there. What you have to realize is that when you're living in the ego all the time, you're taking your focus away. It's like you're looking over here instead. You should just shift your gaze right to here because you don't have to go through any sort of healing process. You don't have to go through years of therapy and healing and just using crystals and whatever other spiritual practice people claim is beneficial. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to connect with your inner child and chakras and all that sort of nonsense. You don't have to do any of that. What you can do is something very simple. Start figuring out where the ego is talking, where's all those thoughts coming from, and start to differentiate ego or soul, spirit. Once you start to differentiate, then you will shift into the frequency so that you are in alignment, you're in union of yourself, your true self, and you're connected with who you are. That's all you have to do. It's very simple. It's very easy. I don't want to say it's easy, never mind that. But the thought of it is very daunting. But it's not as bad as you actually think that it is. It just seems like it's much worse because the ego wants control. So, if you would like to schedule a one-on-one session with me, please visit my website at autumnasphodel.com/coaching. I offer a free 15-minute consultation if you would like to begin to work with me, what I can help you with. So I look forward to talking with you soon. So take care. Have a great one. Bye-bye.